Hey guys, it looks like I am live in my car. It's actually turning into quite a warm day. I have like a double sweater situation happening here because in Saskatchewan at this time of year, it's usually super, super cold in the morning. Then it gets warm in the afternoon and then it gets super cold again. So it's like a very manic, like I think it was like 5 degrees when I woke up this morning, and I think it's supposed to get up to 25 degrees this afternoon. So you have to be like very prepared with your layers. So anyway, I'm melting in my car because the sunlight is beaming in and it's like, yeah. Anyway, I wanted to talk about being an old lady, which I say with like some amount of tongue in cheek, but also some amount of like cruel honesty and reality. The reason that I thought to bring this up today is a friend of mine had a birthday recently, and he was lamenting turning 26 years old and being on the wrong side of 20 and his own challenges confronting the inevitable aging process. And we were having a bit of discussion just about this. And first of all, it's so cute that like a cute little 26-year-old is having these like existential angst questions. But at the time, I probably had my own versions of that when I was younger as well. So my own birthday is coming up soon too, next month. So yeah, there tends to be like some kind of contemplation about aging and stuff every time the wheel comes around every year. So I'm turning 34 this year. And which is why I think it's very cute that my my 26-year-old friend is like really feeling the pressure of aging. I think one thing that he was saying that I really resonated with is when he turned 25, and I've had this experience when I turned 25. I also had this experience when I turned 30, is the thought that like, huh, I thought I'd be somewhere else, or like I thought I'd be farther. Cuz when I was a 20-year-old, I had such an idealistic view of what my life might look like, and all the cool things that I was going to do and all the cool things I was going to accomplish. And then when I turned 25, I was like, oh, I didn't really do anything. I didn't really get anywhere. Nothing's like little things have changed, but nothing major has happened. I haven't like crushed any big dreams or anything like that. And I had a similar experience when I turned 30 as well. That being said, I did start some things in my late 20s, which felt like really big deals at the time. So in my late 20s, I started piano TV, for example. In my late 20s, I started teaching piano independently, being my own my own boss, essentially, and transitioning into that kind of lifestyle. But I've always had like kind of big, audacious ambitions. One of them relating to music, like releasing an album and being able to tour it, for example. That's something that that is maybe not possible with COVID. But I've always wanted to release an album and have it not just be like a teeny tiny drop in the pond that no one ever listens to. As such, I'm studying a lot about marketing and stuff. But the thing about being a musician in the alternative rock space is that I feel really old. Like I'm on like the wrong side of the age, because it's kind of like alternative rock tends to be more of like a young person, or maybe I'm totally off base on this, but like popular music, contemporary music seems to be much more of a young person's game, like people in their 20s. I know this isn't true. I know a lot of my favorite artists, or even like up and coming artists, are like into their 30s. I know bands like Blondie, for example, like Debbie Harry was in her 30s when they released I think it was like their debut album or something like that. So I know that this isn't like a rule. It just sort of feels that way. What I've been kind of confronting lately is like, why didn't I do this earlier? Like, why, like if I were to tell anything to my like 20 something year old self, it's sort of like, why didn't you just do it? Why didn't you just like make the album? Why didn't you just go on the tour or like do the hustle? Because I had a lot of like energy and drive and passion, all of that stuff when I was younger. I just didn't do it. And now I'm here like a decade later I've wanted to be like, a performing musician and stuff like that since I was a kid. So here I am in my early 30s, almost mid 30s now, and I haven't done it. And that's a really like bitter pill to swallow. So now I'm really feeling this pressure of time that if I don't do it now, then when am I actually going to do it? Am I going to wait till I'm 40? Then what? Then it's even more of a challenge and life gets even more complicated. I mean, when I was in my 20s, I didn't have a child. So that adds like a layer of complexity now that I'm in my 30s and I have a child. So there's so many things that it's not that I regret my past decisions, but if any of you are younger and you have like big audacious dreams that you want to pursue, especially dreams that are sort of limited in a way. So if I was 50, I'm not going to really be able to start this, you know, like I could write an album, but it wouldn't be in an alternative rock album. That just might not fit that well, especially if I'm just getting it. Like I could do adult contemporary music, I could do singer-songwriter stuff. But the reality as a vocalist also is that the older I get, the crappier my voice gets. I could become better at the piano and I could become better at, say, producing music or creating things like that, but I'm not going to sound as good. I'm not going to be able to have the same energy level when I'm performing and stuff like that. So I was just thinking, I don't regret the past, but at the same time, I do wish that I wouldn't have been like so afraid to take a chance back then when I was younger, because now I'm in the position in my 30s where it's like, I got to do it now or never. And it's just a little bit of a different situation. So if you're sitting on a dream and you're like, I have no idea how I'm going to make this work, just figure it out. Just figure it out. I don't know. That's what I would be. That's how I'm feeling right now as an old lady sitting in a car. I know I'm actually not that old. I know that. But when I was, 25, 34 seemed like, oh wow, that's like a real adult. So from like a perspective standpoint, it's like, okay, I'm not like super young in the tooth. One thought I had that really put this into perspective for me, in my head, sometimes I sort of still feel the same way I did when I was like 20. I still sort of feel like I'm a teenager. I'm just like, I'm the same as I always was. I'm just smarter, hopefully. But I was thinking about it. I was like, man, when I turn 34 this year, I will have lived to age 17 twice, which is, it just kind of boggles my mind, because 17, like, it doesn't seem that distant. I remember what it was like to be a 17-year-old, and it's like, I've aged to 17 twice. It was kind of like, wow, okay, I gotta get on it. I gotta like do things. I don't want my life to be, I don't know. I just don't want, I want it to matter, I guess. I don't want to be looking back on things and say, oh, I didn't like do anything because I was afraid. It's like, that's lame. I don't want to be lame. I don't want my life to be lame. So anyway, those are just my sentiments for the day. Feeling like an old lady musician, but I'm still gonna hustle. I feel more driven than ever to I don't know, to just spend the next, like, I would even say like 5 years in the space of being a performing artist. So anyway, I hope you guys are well. I'd be curious to know as well, do you, like, when you have birthdays, do you have this angst? Like, are you guys super young? Like, I'm kind of curious how old you guys are and how you you frame the aging process, if you find it to be like, yeah, getting older, this is great, or if you're finding that the older you get, the harder it is to go after your goals. Or I'm just curious where you guys stand. So please let me know in the comments, and I'll catch you in tomorrow's video.